I get it. Most of us have tried every meal planning system out there. Binders, apps, freezer meals, you name it, we've tried it. But if you still find yourself wasting food, overspending, and dreading that question of what's for dinner, today I'm gonna share with you an easy and repeatable one-sheet system that has not only worked for thousands of women, but also restaurants across the country. It's simple, it's repeatable, and it will work in your house too. Well, I've shared that I've gotten to work at 2 restaurants over the years, the Olive Garden and Applebee's, and this meal planning system that I've come up with, I actually introduced it over 7 years ago, and I've had the privilege of testing and fine-tuning it with thousands of women now. It actually came from my days of working in chain restaurants, because if you have worked in a chain restaurant kitchen, you know that the managers there actually earn bonuses and awards based on low food waste. And so they are all about using up what they have and not letting anything go to waste. And I very distinctly remember my manager walking around the kitchen at the end of the night. We'd all be doing our side work and cleaning up the kitchen. The cooks would be cleaning the grills and getting everything put away. And my manager would be walking around with a clipboard, and she would be taking inventory of the food that was left both in the walk-in fridge and then also the dry goods as well. And so I'm excited to help you create a very simple system that is going to make your kitchen super efficient. Your food waste is going to be almost non-existent. You're going to be able to stick in your budget, which is so good because groceries are so expensive right now. You're going to cook at home more. Your meal planning will take about 5 minutes a week, and you're finally going to be able to stick to it. Okay, so here's how we'll tackle this today. First, I'm going to show you how to create a master meal planning sheet, one page that is going to make your life so much easier. Step number 2, we're going to talk all about inventory and how you have been sabotaging yourself in your kitchen. And then lastly, we'll go over some frequently asked questions as well. So step number 1, we're going to create our master meal planning sheet. If you will set aside about 10 minutes to do this, it doesn't take long at all. So like I said, you can find this as an editable PDF down below so you can create your own. And you're going to see that there's 2 main sections to this. So in the first section, we're going to create a grocery list of all the foods that we always buy. And so I have it divided out by the different sections of the grocery store, but this is such a kindness to your brain. Again, I talk about this all the time recently. Our brains are so overwhelmed, they manage so many details. So whatever we can do to make it easier for our brain is so happy. So we want to populate the things that we buy all the time. And you can walk around your kitchen and create this. You can look back at your past grocery shopping orders to help create it as well. But we're going to populate this. You'll think it's going to take a lot of time. It actually doesn't at all. And then you're going to see this bottom section where we're going to populate 20 to 30 go-to meals. These are meant to be meals that you know how to cook, that you maybe need to glance at a recipe, but mostly you know them pretty well. Because again, we have to reduce the mental energy that is going into cooking. That's what makes it easy and repeatable. And so we want recipes that are easy and that we know how to cook. We're going to talk at the end of the section, we'll talk about the new recipe trap and why that just derails us all. We think we need new recipes. You don't, I promise, you don't need new recipes. And in the FAQ, we'll talk about, but what if your family gets bored with eating the same meals over and over again? I got you covered. Don't worry about that. But again, we're going to populate this worksheet. This is a game changer. So one of my very first YouTube videos 7 years ago was about this exact meal planning worksheet. And since then, I literally have had women come up to me in the grocery store and they have the sheet in their hand. They say, look, I am still using your system because it works so well. Why? Because it's simple and repeatable. And so if you will take just a little bit of time, again, I'm thinking 15 minutes tops to populate this whole worksheet, it is going to be time well invested. And this is going to be your go-to cheat sheet for meal planning week in and week out moving forward. Now, once you've created your master meal planning worksheet, here's how you use it. So take your worksheet and go around your kitchen and take a quick glance. Is there anything in the fridge that needs to be used up or in your pantry? Because that might influence the recipes that you choose at the bottom. So you're going to want to circle 5 to 7 recipes for meals, depending on how many meals you want to cook at home that week. So select your meals, and then once you have your meals selected, make sure you have all of the ingredients for them. So again, if I'm making chicken chili, I want to look in the fridge and freezer. Do I have chicken, cream cheese, the beans and corn that I need for it, a jar of salsa? salsa. And again, I know these recipes very well. If you need to reference the recipe, you can, but again, this is where having repeatable recipes that we know inside and out makes it very quick and easy to make our shopping list. So I'm gonna circle any ingredients that I need for chicken chili and then look at the next meal and make sure I have everything for that as well. So then your shopping list will be complete, and then you can go ahead and create your grocery order. I'm assuming most of us are doing grocery pickup or delivery right now because we don't have time to go into the grocery store ourselves, and I do think it helps us stay on budget when we're placing a grocery order. Now understand that you'll probably make adjustments in the first several weeks that you're using this. So take notes on your meal planning worksheet, make adjustments to it, but after about a month, I think you're gonna feel that you really have it dialed in and there's not a lot of adjustments that you're gonna make. So again, at the top is our grocery list, and then at the bottom are the meals that we cook week in and week out. Now for me, I divided this into how long the meals take to make. I have my really fast meals, my go-to. I like to call these like better than McDonald's. And so I will put things on there like chicken nuggets or corn dogs or frozen lasagna or even a fancy frozen pizza. Well, it doesn't have to be a fancy, I mean, we eat plenty of Jacks around here too. But again, hot tip, why have a lot of us failed at meal planning? Because when we try to get back in meal planning, we also try to eat healthier or to try a bunch of new recipes. Meal planning is just simply deciding what is for dinner this week. It is not synonymous, or it doesn't mean the same thing as trying new recipes or eating healthier. Now, many of us have goals to eat healthier, but let's do that gradually over time, but not use this as an opportunity to stock up on tons of healthy new foods and try tons of healthy new recipes, which brings us to the new recipe trap. Why have many of us failed at meal planning? Because we think we have to try new recipes when we get back into it. Now, here's what's important. Why do we call this the new recipe trap? It's important to remember that new recipes require more mental bandwidth and more time. So if you are going to put a new recipe into your meal plan, it's very important to make sure on that day that you are planning that new recipe that you have extra time, and it's on a day where you're not going to feel tired and stressed out when it comes to cook dinner. So the new recipe trap, again, it's failing to realize that new recipes require extra mental energy and time, and they also often require new ingredients. So one of the main reasons that we are wasting food is because we buy ingredients and don't use them up in our meal plan. And that actually leads us into the next section of our grocery inventory. Why, when food is so expensive right now, are we still finding ourselves wasting food week in and week out? And that's because for most of us, we are buying too much food. It's important to remember this. The less food you buy, the less food you waste, and the easier it is to meal plan. And so again, in that original video I did about 7 years, that was actually when I first had this epiphany that everything in our house is inventory that we have to manage. I would look at the food in our fridge and in our pantry cabinets, and I realized that this was all inventory that I had to manage. I was bringing it home from the store, and now it was my responsibility to manage. And I had the thought of like, why don't I just let the store manage it until it's time for me to use it? Especially in my pantry, I would have extra jars of pasta sauce and beans and vegetables and all these things that I had to remember and I had to look through and I had to try and use up before they expired. And it occurred to me, why don't I just let the store manage it until I'm ready to use it? And that was when I started highly reducing the amount of food inventory that I was managing in our kitchen, both in our pantry and also in our fridge. And I decided to just start getting the food that I needed for the recipes that I was cooking for that week. And it meant that by the end of the week, our fridge and cabinets were actually pretty bare. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can read your mind. What about emergency food storage? We'll talk about that in the FAQ. I got you covered. I know. We're just not going to keep it in the kitchen, okay? But we'll talk about that. All right, so again, if we can remember, the less food you buy, the less food you waste, the easier it is to meal plan. So what we want to have in our kitchen is a very standard inventory of foods. So again, let's think about this meal queue that you're making at the bottom of your worksheet as your menu for for the next few months that you are offering. And for that then, if you are a restaurant, you are only going to keep foods in your kitchen that fit those meals and the types of snacks or lunches that you're packing. And so we're going to really narrow narrow in on just having the foods for those. What does this mean? It means that when we go to the grocery store and we see something on sale or clearance, we're not going to be swayed by that. We're not going to buy it because it doesn't fit into our current menu offering. And we know from past experience that if we bring those home, there's a good chance that they're going to get wasted because they're not part of our standard menu offering. And so if we're really concerned about lowering our food waste, let's think like a restaurant and say, no, this is my core offering right now. And if I bring in extra stuff, that's more inventory that I have to manage. I don't have a good system right now for managing that. It takes extra brain energy. It's not simple and repeatable. So I am going to leave that at the store. And this can be tricky for our brains. Most of us are very frugal. I'm with you. If I see a good deal, it can be kind of hard to pass it up. But I've had to realize that by me having a consistent menu offering and only getting foods that align with those, keeping a low food inventory, cooking at home very consistently and not eating out, this is what helps me save money, not by getting a discount on something that's on clearance and trying to force it into my menu plan. And so staying the course with a simple menu offering, low food inventory, that is what helps me stay in my budget and not waste food and save money, not couponing and stocking up on clearance things. Again, this can be a big mental shift to make. I fully understand that, but I believe if you will try this and test it out, you're gonna find that for yourself as well. And what if you're finding that you're having more questions or there's just some unique circumstances in your household when it comes to meal planning? Well, maybe you'll consider investing in yourself and your household by joining our membership community. It's normally $45 a month, but right now it's on special for just $22. And this is what we do inside of our community week in and week out. We talk about all of your household systems like meal planning, cleaning routines, managing your calendar and your to-do list, not to mention decluttering and simplifying. I want you to feel like a rock star when it comes to managing your home. We are trying to juggle so much and we need simple and repeatable solutions, and that's what we're all about. And I'm in there 6 days a week. I would love to work alongside of you, and you'll be welcomed into the coolest group of women. They are kind and caring and sweet, but also really fun too. We have a lot of fun in there. So selfishly, I would love to get to work alongside of you. Okay, so let's talk about some frequently asked questions. Number one, if I have this simple meal rotation at the bottom, isn't my family going to get bored of it? I have had a very limited meal rotation for the last 7 years, and it really hasn't been an issue in our house. And once you get this dialed in, you feel like it's working really well, you're meal planning consistently, then of course it's okay to try some new recipes. But again, just make sure that you're doing it at a time where you have the extra bandwidth and time to put into it. Number two, what about freezer stuff? Do you stock up on things? And this is where you need to know yourself. No failure, just data. So I grew up on a farm. We would buy a whole pig, half a cow at a time. We would have a big, huge chest freezer full of meat that was wrapped in the white butcher packaging. And that, I didn't even know you went to the grocery store and bought fresh meat for the very early years of my life, right? We only had bulk freezer food. Do you know what the problem is? I hate cooking frozen meat. I grew up, I know how to do it, right? We know how to thaw it and all the things. But for myself, when I was running my own household, meat was continually expiring and going bad in my chest freezer because I don't like cooking from frozen, and it was too much inventory to manage for the season of life that I was in. So know yourself. If you're able to stock up on things and put them in the freezer or in the pantry and use them up, that's fine, then do it. But if that's just not you or it doesn't match your season of life right now, stop feeling bad about it and wasting money on it. It's totally okay if that's not you right now. And that leads us into buying in bulk. Again, many of us have come by the belief, whether it's how we were raised or influencers that we followed, that we need to stock up or coupon or buy in bulk in order to stretch our grocery budget. However, that is all inventory that you have to manage. And so match the inventory with your current season of life. If you have the bandwidth and the space in your house to manage all of that extra inventory, and that's where you want to put your energy right now, go to town. Who am I to tell you not to do that? But for me, that's not where I want to put my energy right now. It's not the best use of my time, especially when I have all these other household systems to manage too. And then of course, emergency food storage. And so for us, we did create some emergency food storage. I created extra shelves in our basement for that type of storage. And honestly, I didn't worry too much about rotating it. If all hell broke loose in the world and we really needed something to eat, I would eat an expired can of beans, right? And so I had to match the type of emergency food storage, again, with how much time and energy I had to put into it, which was very little, right? So we got some pantry shelves, put it in the basement, threw some inexpensive food on it, and there it is. We haven't used it. We did try to kind of casually eat through it and rotate some of it out, but I wasn't hyper focused on it. I didn't make a big deal out of it. There's probably a lot down there that is expired right now. And so again, that is the amount of energy that I'm gonna put into it. If it's very important to you, then you'll decide to put a little more in and find more sophisticated systems for rotating it. But for me, again, it's just not where I'm at right now, and that's okay. Another question is, do you use freezer meals? So this is another thing that I think has been glorified and we feel like as women that we should do. But if freezer meals aren't your jam, it's totally fine. Now for myself, what I found was really useful was to cook up larger quantities of meat, whether it was ground beef or chicken. So I would try to cook extra of that when I was making it and either put it in the fridge or freezer to use for another meal. That was super effective for me. But creating actual freezer meals, a lot of the recipes just didn't seem to fit my family's taste. So again, permission to take that pressure off of you. You don't have to do freezer meals and you can still have an efficient kitchen. So again, you don't need a perfect system, you just need one that is easy and repeatable. And I think that's what I have for you here. So again, find that fillable printable down below. But also next, let's talk about getting your evenings in check. Because as women, we are carrying around so much stress that our house is not running smoothly and how we want it to. So we're getting meal planning dialed in here. And also in this next video, we'll talk about how planning your to-do list and the right way to do it the night before is actually gonna help you fall asleep faster and sleep better. It's quite magical, actually. So I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you over there.